So, what themes seem to be rising for humanity?
Yeah, so in good news, I mean, a lot of people had a really tough 2025. A lot of the readings I've done, especially in the past maybe 2 months or so, people are like, "Oh man, I'm so glad 2025 is over or almost over. It was so tiring. I'm so exhausted. I'm ready for a new year." So I do feel like there is a lot of change coming. Now, if we look at the tarot card for the year, if we add 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 6, we get 10. So 10 in tarot is the Wheel of Fortune. And the Wheel of Fortune is a card of cycles and a card of change. So it does tell us that there are bigger things at play here. It's not like we're just little cogs in the big machine, right? So there are so many things or elements of this that are beyond our control. So there's a kind of a feeling of we have to go with the flow. Like if we try hard to stop the wheel from turning, we're just getting in our own way.
Hmm.
So it's very much about having that trust in ourselves and
Hmm.
that trust in the universe
Hmm.
as we kind of navigate forward. Now, 10 also reduces to 1 because 1 plus 0 is 1, and 1 is the magician. So this is a great year to move into the energy of creation. And I do find more and more people are starting to kind of wake up and to really tap in energetically into something more for themselves. Like they realize there's more out there than this. And
Hmm.
the magician is that power of creation. It's utilizing the energy around us, the tools, the resource, the talents that we already have, and to put those out into the world in a way that is intentional and meaningful.
Hmm.
So I love that those two cards are kind of the overarching energy for 2026. And I know that the wheel often brings the ups and downs, right? It's not all smooth sailing. Life never is. But I do think we're moving energetically, at least, into a place that allows people to create much more of the reality they actually desire.
Welcome to Souls on Tap. I'm your host, Julianne Thon. Today's guest is a tarot reader who treats the cards as a living symbolic language of the soul. Based in Niagara, Ontario, she uses tarot not to predict the future, but to reveal what's already stirring beneath the surface, what's felt, hidden, and ready to be seen. Blending intuitive card work with subconscious and past life exploration, her readings open portals into clarity, self trust, and meaningful change. Her approach is deep, grounded, and refreshingly real because tarot, at its best, doesn't tell you who to be. It helps you remember. I'd like to welcome to our show Adrienne Amari. Hello, Adrienne.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. That was like the best intro I could have ever asked
Oh,
for. I need you to do my
well,
website.
you can thank my guides and angels for that intro.
That was amazing.
Well, it and all true.
Yes,
And
yeah. I was like, oh, I just feel like so excited.
this is the first tarot episode that I've had, and I think I have over 50 episodes now, and I
Wow.
can't believe that. I just needed to have. I knew that it needed to be the right person,
Well, I'm
and
honored. I'm honored that you felt like that's me.
that you are the person. So let's get started.
Yeah.
Tell us, how did tarot first find you, not just as a tool,
Mhm.
but as a spiritual language, and what shifted in your life once you answered that call?
So it's interesting. I actually learned about tarot years ago. I was in grade six, and my grade six teacher wanted us all to create classroom businesses so that we could earn this fake money that he created as well. So, of course, I had no ideas, and I'm stressed out about this as grade six me. So, when I went home and asked my parents, my dad said, "Why don't you learn how to read these tarot cards and you can tell your classmates all of their fortunes?" And he gave me this deck of cards and this big old book. And I was flipping through the cards. I came across the devil. It scared the living daylights out of me because I watched The Exorcist when I was far too young to see it. Like,
Oh no.
definitely should not have watched that movie.
Yeah.
So I actually didn't get into tarot at that time, but I did grow up knowing what it was. You know, it's always kind of in the background of things. I'd see it online and be like, oh yeah, that's that thing my dad talked about, sort of thing. But I moved back from Japan about 11 years ago now, and I was completely disoriented. I was ready to come home, but it felt like I had lived a completely different life in a foreign country. I came back to Canada, and then it felt like I had backtracked. Meanwhile, everyone else had like got on with their lives. So it was a very weird place to be. I had to move back into my parents' house while I renovated my house. I went back to the old job I had before I left. So it just felt like I was going backwards in time and losing pieces of myself, and I didn't really know who I was anymore. And that's when I really got into tarot. So I was on a forum and there was a girl showing her tarot cards and doing like quick little readings. She wasn't a professional or anything, just someone who was interested. And I was like, I'm kind of curious. So I asked her for one. Can't remember at all what she said, but it really ignited that interest. I was like, oh yeah. So I started to get into it. And I don't stick with anything. Like I'm the person who wants to try everything, and I don't really stick with a whole lot, but tarot has stuck. So 11 years now, it's the one thing I go back to time and time again. And it really helped me understand myself while I was feeling really lost, like understanding who I was, maybe what beliefs I was buying into that weren't really helping me. That helped me understand what direction to go in to make decisions. So yeah, it opened so many doors. And what I love about tarot is you never stop learning it. And that's why I think I stick with it because it's never boring, first of all. And you always realize new layers of the cards, or they show up in your life in different ways. And I find that really exciting as well. So I just feel like it opened so many doors for me.
First of all, kudos to that teacher
Yeah, he
that
was amazing. Like,
had
best teacher.
your 12-year-old selves
Yeah.
learning a business. That is awesome. As a retired teacher, I notice things like that, and I'm
Yeah.
impressed. So let's keep going with tarot and what it communicates.
Yeah.
When from your perspective, I know that it can all obviously speak to fate, people's
Mhm.
free will involved, the soul's current energy, or is it something that's so etheric that it is just beyond words?
Feel like it's all of that in one.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't pretend I know how tarot works, to be honest with you. I wish I could sit here and explain it into the like depths of its core that it works this way. I honestly have no idea. And I think that's part of why I love it. It's really about that trust in the process because it does just work. So I don't believe in predicting a hard defined future only because I think we have choice. I think that we are here for a purpose. I think we are here to learn certain lessons in this lifetime. Maybe we do, maybe we don't, like who knows? But because we do have that aspect of it, we also have the choice on how we get there. So there is a semblance of free will. I don't think we have total free will because our brains do get programmed, right, to be called towards different directions. And yes, we can change that and rewire our brain, but that does take away an element of total free will, I believe. But I do think tarot can connect with the subconscious mind. I think it can help you connect with your intuition, 100% the energy that's around you. And that's why, like virtual readings, they still work, right? You can read for someone halfway around the world and there's still that energetic connection and you still get something from it. Yeah, so it's a little bit of everything. It can help you connect to the past. It can help you connect to what you want to create as well. And I think it can show you a natural inclination of how things are going to happen. But again, if you don't like it, change it.
Right.
It's your choice.
I think I agree with you. I think so many people who don't know or understand tarot have a tendency to think of it only as a prediction. And the thing
Yeah.
is it's so much more.
Oh, and that's it. And I would hate someone to come to me for a reading and then make choices in their life based solely on what the cards said if that's not what they want. Because as tarot readers, like we can make mistakes, we can misinterpret things. We're still human, right? And a lot of times people come and it's like, well, tell me this, tell me what my future is, tell me what so and so is feeling about me. And it's like, well, you have some agency here, first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
And energy and feelings and emotions change all the time. So if we're using the cards to empower us and to like guide our path versus trying to fit into a certain mold, it's so much more powerful, I think.
And I always wondered, I guess it depends on the tarot reader
Mhm.
and the energy of the client. But, a lot of times I'm assuming that tarot is going to be reading an individual's lifeline, so to speak, based on the dimension that they're in right now. And
Yeah.
I have seen that as a hypnotherapist, I understand now that a lot of us have a tendency to jump in and out of different dimensions,
Mhm.
sometimes throughout the entire day.
Yeah.
So does tarot sometimes go to other dimensions, or does it stay in this particular third dimension right now?
I, I've never thought about that question. So it's a really interesting question. But no, I feel like it can take you in and out of different things because it can reach, it's all energy, right? It can reach different realms. And that is part of the human experience. It might not be part of the 3D experience, but it's still part of the human experience as a whole. And
Right.
I always say what the tarot is, it's a deck of cards that illustrate the human experience. That's all they are. Like you have probably experienced everything in this deck. Nothing here is new to you. And that's why I think it's so helpful, especially as a tool for empowerment, insight, reflection, guidance, because it's like you've heard these stories before. Even if
Mm-hmm.
you haven't lived them, you've heard them.
Mm-hmm. So when you are doing a reading, do you experience it symbolically with archetypes,
Mhm.
or living energies or conscious collaborators? And how does that relationship typically unfold during a reading?
And that's what I love too. Again, I think it's kind of all of it because it's the more that you learn about life, about your experience, the more you contemplate, the more you think about it, the more elements you can kind of layer in with the cards. So there's a lot of like Jungian psychology that you can read with or relate to tarot. So the archetypes 100%. And that's why tarot works so well because we know these archetypes, right? We all know the fool, right? The one who's ready to set off on adventure, who's excited. The fool's journey is everywhere in pop culture and media and stories. We're
Right.
familiar with it. We
As
might
is
not realize it, but we are.
right, as is
So
the trickster, right?
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. And like that are like those archetypes, they're all in the tarot. So I think that definitely comes out. I do think that there's different energies that come out based on who's sitting down to. Some of it's like, oh, this relates to you because you've had this specific experience that's being illustrated here. I think it can connect to things that are going on in their world as well. It might not be a direct influence, like directly them. Maybe it's somebody in their life that is representing that energy. So it's a
So
combination.
yeah, yeah, and it's more esoteric, I think, than people understand. That's why a professional reader, somebody who really knows their stuff, so to speak, like
Mhm.
you, Adrienne, are so important. If you go to somebody that just dabbles in this, I don't think you'll be as fortunate to understand
Yeah.
your path as if you go to somebody who is well versed. So are there certain cards that feel like um, powerful initiations or thresholds for the soul when they appear?
Oh yeah. There's a lot. And they're usually the ones people don't love. Let's be
Yeah,
real.
yeah.
So for example, I think the death card comes to mind for me, which a lot of people who aren't overly familiar with tarot and this kind of work, they are like,
They
oh
think it
great.
means that I'm gonna
Yeah, they
die.
think
Yeah,
exactly.
right.
And I
Yeah,
mean, like pop culture has done nothing to mitigate that idea either.
right, right.
But death is such a transformational card, right? It's a card of transformation. It's a card of endings that lead to new beginnings, of letting old, outdated parts of yourself go and die off because you can't carry it all with you and still expect to transform and grow. I always think of death as like the winter right before the spring, where everything is brown and mushy. And I live in Niagara, so right now everything is covered in snow. And as we know, as the seasons change, everything's crunchy and it's dead looking and it's kind of gross. And then the spring comes and that rebirth happens. And that's how it feels going through that death card. And that can be such a huge part of ourselves because change is hard and it's uncomfortable. And death tells us that it's inevitable, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's really only one thing that's guaranteed in this life.
Mm-hmm.
And that death card's that reminder that we have to kind of keep on going
Mm-hmm.
because there's
Right.
always transformation, there's always growth, there's always something new on the other side if we are brave enough not to cling to what's no longer there.
Sure. So which cards tend to carry the most transformational energy?
Yeah, so for me, death, I would also say the tower. The tower is about the breaking down of foundations. It says there are cracks in our foundation. and no amount of trying to patch over it is going to fix it anymore. And it's massively uncomfortable because it is that knocking down of your tower. It's upheaval, it can be destruction, it can be chaos. There's fires everywhere, so to speak. But it does say that we have to rebuild our foundation. So in terms especially of spirituality, it's like you could be looking at this world that in a way that's really not right or working for you. And it's so easy to go through the motions and to buy into that. And then you reach a point where you're like, I can't do it. Like I can't exist this way anymore. So let's break it all down and build again. And again, a lot of people don't like the tower because of that reason.
Right.
But I love it because it's like, no, you get to rebuild bigger, better, stronger with everything that you've learned now. You're not rebuilding from scratch. You get to rebuild better. And
Right.
isn't that really exciting?
So if an individual received a death card and the tower card, that would indicate um, the ending of something,
Yeah.
right? So
Yep.
it's not necessarily your physical death.
Oh gosh, no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, right, like you said.
But it's
So
very much like to me, that would be a very big transformational time frame for them, where it's like who they used to be is no longer who they are or who
they
they're
are.
becoming. And they really have to break down and let go of those foundations, those structures they've built as their old selves, because you can't have it going forward and expect to be happy.
So many uh, individuals who are light workers like yourself are full of intuition. So, how does your intuition interact with the cards in real time? Do the cards lead, or does your inner knowing shape their message?
So for me, so the reason I love tarot is because I love the structure. Like I can pick up any tarot deck and there's a structure to it. There's going to be 78 cards, there's 22 majors, there's 56 minors, there's 16 court cards. Like it's very, I like that structure. So I feel like for me, that's kind of the baseline because I can always fall back on that. But a lot of the times in readings, something will come up and I won't always say it for that card. I'm like, I don't know why I have to say this to you, but is this your situation? Or you need to hear this message. And it's always related to the card. It's not like way out in left field, but I feel like it's like an activation.
Right.
The card's an activation for what needs to come through intuitively.
I know that tarot also can bring shadow to the
Totally.
surface. How do you hold space for those clients when
Yeah.
something difficult or confrontational information emerges in a reading?
Yeah, and sometimes it's hard. Like sometimes they're pretty deep. I do always have a box of Kleenex just in case.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
And my dog is usually somewhere around if somebody needs an extra little cuddle.
Aw,
But it's like a little emotional support tarot dog.
yeah, good.
But really, sometimes it just takes time. It just takes a moment of silence, a moment to process. I'm not here to judge anyone. Like I don't want to say this flippantly. It's not that I don't care, but whatever you've been through, whatever you're bringing to the table, it doesn't matter to me because this is your journey and we're doing a tarot reading for you. It's not about me. It's not for me. Like I want the best for you, but I don't care how it happens, if that makes sense.
Right. Well,
Uh,
again, that's like we were talking about before the show. You take your ego as a healer and you push that aside. It's like it has
yeah.
no place here.
And I find that I don't get a lot of people that have a hard time opening up. Sometimes at the beginning, they're a little bit nervous, they're anxious on what might show up in the cards. But I find that because I'm not here to judge, and I think it's very clear that a lot of gates open because of that. And if they just need a moment of silence, that's fine. Like if they want to take a break, that's fine. If they want to pull a card on something absolutely ridiculous, just as like okay, I need to breathe again, we can do
Uh-huh.
that too. Like, life comes with laughs as well. So I've
Hmm.
never had a reading where there's not a few laughs thrown in there. So I feel like it's well balanced in that sense.
That's
But I
good.
also think the cards won't show you something that you can't deal with.
Really.
Yeah.
So the cards have their own intuition as well, right?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's the cards or maybe the subconscious mind. Like you won't go there if you can't deal with it. And I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's similar in hypnotherapy, right? Where it's like if that door is locked, no matter how hard you knock on it, it's not going to open. And I feel like tarot is kind of the same way, where if like your subconscious is really not ready to see that and deal with that, then we're not going to deal with it.
Hmm. Yeah, except the difference is in introspective hypnosis, it's people that are having trouble unlocking what they know they need to,
Fair, yeah.
that have the experience because they need a tool to help them go there.
Mhm.
And if they need that healing, then the soul will take them there.
And that's,
And
yeah, and that's how I feel. It's kind of the same thing where it's like if you're truly not ready and you truly can't deal with it, then now is not the time.
mhm,
But if you are, and there is elements of you that are ready to shift and ready to make those changes, even if it's a slow change, like that's
right.
okay.
Yeah,
I
right.
feel like it can kind of chip away at the resistance, if that makes
Hmm.
sense.
Yeah. Well, that's good because you're definitely also honoring the client.
Yeah, well, I don't want to push anyone because if they're not ready, they're not going to get anything out of it. And
Hmm.
I'd rather somebody leave, even if it's just, thoughts turning in their head as they process. That's great. That's a
Have you
great
ever
start.
felt an unexplainable fear, a deep connection to a place you've never been, or patterns in your life you just can't seem to break? These aren't random thoughts. These are to look deeper, to heal, to remember. At JT Introspective Hypnosis, I help you access the answers already within you through the power of guided polydimensional travel and the place your soul takes you in order to heal. Because the truth is, you're not lost. You're just waiting to be found. Learn more and book your session at www.julianathon.com.
Can you share an experience,
Mhm.
excuse me, where tarot facilitated a profound healing or an awakening, either for you or
Mhm.
somebody that you read for?
So for me personally, it really just helped me get out of my shell. I'm stereotypically quite shy, which I don't think if people don't, once they start talking to me, they're like, no, you're not. I'm like, no, but I am. I had a lot of anxiety, a lot of nervousness, which through doing a lot of this work and uncovering different beliefs that I was holding on to, that I really realized through the tarot were not mine. So I am holding all this baggage and it's heavy and it's exhausting and it makes me feel crappy and it's not mine. So why am I holding on to it? So it's kind of like, not that the cards need to be a permission slip, but it gives you almost permission to see it and then to be like, cool, that's not mine. I can work on releasing that. So for me, that really helped. I think my favorite client moment though was it was oddly enough at a market, which you don't often get too deep at markets because it's busy and there's lots of people
Right,
around. Like, let's
right,
be real.
right.
But he came and he had walked back and forth past the booth a few times. I'd noticed him just kind of eyeing it, kind of curiously. And he finally decided to come in for a reading. And he sat down, and the first thing he says to me, I don't believe in any of this stuff. I don't believe in spirits or the cards or anything. And I was like, cool, no problem. It doesn't
Thank you for
matter to me.
sharing. Right.
Yeah. I was like, not a problem. Like, as long as you're a little bit open to whatever might come up, we're cool. Like, I'm not here to push beliefs or ideas on anybody. Come as you are, right? So we did the reading, and it was very intense. There were a lot of swords, and in tarot, swords are often the most difficult or perceived as the most difficult suit because it's the suit of our mind, our thoughts, our beliefs, our words, and what do we hurt ourselves with the most, right? Like that's the most painful thing that we often go through, the way
Right.
we think, the way we talk to ourselves, the way other people talk to us. And a lot of past trauma came up in this reading, especially to do with his parents. And by the end of the reading, he was crying.
Oh,
Yeah, but
yeah.
he needed it. Like he needed the release. He was really happy with it, even though he had such an emotional release in the reading. But obviously, it was something that had to come out. And he gave me a hug afterwards, and he's like, "Well, I'm not so much a skeptical anymore." And I'm like, "Great."
Oh, that's great.
But yeah, it was just like such a nice moment. Because if somebody can have that kind of just release and that kind of recognition that like this actually really hurts and I don't have to push it away. I can face it and confront it and deal with it. That's pretty powerful, I think.
What role would you say that personal responsibility and spiritual maturity
Mm.
play in receiving a tarot message without giving one's power away?
That's a really interesting question because I feel like, especially with the boom in popularity of tarot, especially during the pandemic, a lot of people got into it. There were a million and one TikTok tarot readers, right? All throwing their cards around on lives. So I do feel like people need to realize that you have agency. So you can take or leave anything you want that somebody says to you in a tarot reading. Just because I say it, it doesn't mean it's the gospel truth, right? I hope that it's encouraging or helpful or enlightening or opens your eyes or, whatever it is we're talking about. But at the same time, you know yourself, you know your life more than anybody else is going to. So you do have to kind of go into it open, but still with a good sense of discernment.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's important.
I'm wondering how many people on YouTube, because you're right, there are thousands now that do tarot
Yeah.
readings. I wonder how many of them just dabble in it as
Yeah.
a hobby, but represent it as if, it's the be all end all. And I think that could be really dangerous. I think
I do too.
any kind of light work or any kind of healing has to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
And
Well, and there's a lot of fear mongering in it as well. And
mhm,
I don't like that doesn't help anyone. I'm not saying there's
mhm.
not scary things or difficult things to deal with in life because it's part of life and here we are, but the fear mongering doesn't give anybody power to do something about it.
And sometimes people, healers, or people who call themselves healers rather, will utilize fear in order to control the client, which I think is unfortunate too. Let's go back to I I'm intrigued by the gentleman, excuse me, that walked back and forth at the market.
Mm-hmm.
Was this, because I know you said you taught in Japan for a while. Was this in Japan or was this in Canada?
This was here in Canada. I didn't read in Japan.
So it's interesting that, like, his soul was telling him, his
Yeah.
guides were telling him, what that you should do this, you really need to do this,
Yeah.
but his human self and the ego, and there was obviously some fear there as well. You the way you described it, you could almost feel how this little mini combat was going on
Yeah.
with him, that he didn't believe in it, but there was a part of him that really did want to believe in it
Oh,
and knew
100%.
somehow he
Yeah.
should be there. And so even though he told you, look, let's get it out front, I don't believe in any of this stuff, blah 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 blah, it was like he needed to say that and then he could take a deep breath and relax. Is
I think so.
that what
Yeah. And I
happened
get
with him?
that. I get that from a lot of people, actually. I do get a lot of skeptics. And I don't know why skeptics in general are drawn to me, but I do. And I just tell them, look, as long as you're open, that's all I need. Like, I'm not here to prove anything. So let's just see what happens. What's the worst that can happen? You pull a card you don't like. Oh, well, you move on with your life.
Skeptics are good because
Hmm.
they keep us as healers on our toes, but they also, if they'll work with you
Hmm.
long enough, you can help them understand that skepticism can be a very healthy kind of a
Oh, totally.
characteristic that they have,
Yeah.
but are they hiding behind it
Yeah. Oh,
because
true.
they don't want the
Yeah.
truth? Yeah. When you are working with a client, do you notice patterns in the cards that are reflecting the collective consciousness right now? Because we all know what's going on with our world. Talk
It's
about
a wild
chaos,
world.
chaos. I'll bet you
Yeah.
lots of towers. You're probably seeing a lot of towers right now. So what themes seem to be rising for humanity?
Yeah, so in good news, I mean, a lot of people had a really tough 2025. A lot of the readings I've done, especially like in the past maybe 2 months or so, people are like, "Oh man, I'm so glad 2025 is over or almost over. Like it was so tiring. I'm so exhausted. I'm ready for a new year." So I do feel like there is a lot of change coming. Now, if we look at the tarot card for the year, if we add 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 6, we get 10. So 10 in tarot is the Wheel of Fortune. And the Wheel of Fortune is a card of cycles and a card of change. So it does tell us that there are bigger things at play here. It's not like we're just little cogs in the big machine, right? So there are so many things or elements of this that are beyond our control. So there's a kind of a feeling of we have to go with the flow. Like if we try hard to stop the wheel from turning, we're just getting in our own way.
Mm-hmm,
So it's very much about having that trust in ourselves and
mm-hmm,
that trust in the universe
mm-hmm.
as we kind of navigate forward. Now, 10 also reduces to 1 because 1 plus 0 is 1. And 1 is the magician. So this is a great year to move into the energy of creation. And I do find more and more people are starting to kind of wake up and to really tap in energetically into something more for themselves. Like they realize there's more out there than this. And the magician is that power of creation. It's utilizing the energy around us, the tools, the resource, the talents that we already have, and to put those out into the world in a way that is intentional and meaningful. So I love that those two cards are kind of the overarching energy for 2026. And I know that the wheel often brings the ups and downs, right? It's not all smooth sailing. Life never is. But I do think we're moving energetically, at least, into a place that allows people to create much more of the reality they actually desire. But the magician says it takes confidence and it takes intentional action. And I think that's the hardest part.
So when you say intentional action, can you give us an example?
Yeah. So, and it goes kind of hand in hand with manifestation too, I believe. But a lot of people, they're like, oh, I really want to do this in life. I'm doing it, and they're not. They're half doing it. Like I do it too. When I'm cleaning,
Right.
especially, I'm like, oh, there we go,
Right. Right.
But we go halfway because we're scared to go all the way in. And the magician is like, you have to embody that energy from the inside out and take actions that actually move you towards that reality and towards that goal. It can't just be like, oh, I'm dipping my toe in and then expecting to have everything unfold for you.
Yeah, I have noticed that sometimes, especially in today's world, a lot of people that say that they want healing, they often go expecting a fast answer.
Yes.
Like, I have these problems, I want an answer now. And then they get the reading and they feel like they've gotten their answer, and then they go off and then they don't do any work. And
Exactly. Yeah.
people don't understand that any kind of self-healing, because really it's up to the individual. It's not me or you healing that individual, it's that individual healing themselves. If they are not willing to go to those places that are uncomfortable and find a way that they can straighten or right their path so that they can be 100% of who their soul intends for them to be, then it's not going to do them any good.
No. And then you get frustrated, and then you feel like it can be very discouraging.
Exactly.
Right? You're like, well, I'm doing the work. Why isn't it working? It's like, but are you actually doing the work? Like you're going through the motions. That's not the same as doing the intentional work, though. That's not the same as like putting the energy behind it fully. Because it's scary. Like, I'm not going to lie. It's scary to commit sometimes to that because there is an unknown element to it where it's like, well, what's on the other side?
Right.
And it's interesting because a card that's come up, I would say just in the past 6 weeks, more than I think I've ever had it come up, is the Four of Pentacles. And the Four of Pentacles, he's holding on to his money or his coins or the material world. So he really craves stability and security. And I know a lot of people crave that right now, especially as things seem so tumultuous and so up and down. So there is this craving of the security and stability, but you can't cling tightly and expect to hold on to it because that's just not how it works. So it's like you have to find that balance between where do you actually invest your resources, and resources are time, money, energy, emotion, everything that we have going, all that fuel that we have for ourselves. Like, how do you invest that in a way that still feels right, that still keeps you somewhat safe, without feeling like you have to cling so hard?
To your point, then how can tarot be used as a tool for spiritual development, not just insight, but for someone either on a daily or intentional practice level?
Yeah. Well, and that's what I love about tarot is like, I think everyone should learn to read tarot, even if you never want to read for anybody else, because it can help you in so many ways. And on a spiritual level, it can really help you trust your intuition. I find a lot of people have a hard time listening to their intuition, and hindsight is always 2020. And when I ask them, like, okay, think of a time you didn't listen to your intuition. What happened? It never is good. Like, it's never the right thing for them. But we don't live in a society where we're encouraged to trust intuition over logic, reason, and practicality, which also has its place. I don't want to say that it doesn't.
Hmm.
So tarot can really shine a light on when we should be listening more to our spiritual side. It can help us develop spiritual practices in terms of ritual, because ritual can be so meaningful. It can really help us open new doors. It can help us find time to slow down. It can help us find that time to quiet our mind. So the cards are kind of even like little reminders where you're like, hey, you're not doing this.
Hmm.
Like, let's come back and do that. Um, and they're great
Again,
for setting intentions and goals and just really exploring that part of yourself. Dream work too. Like dreams are a really great way to connect with your spirituality and kind of get those subconscious messages, but they can be hard to decode, right? So tarot is a great way to help you decode that.
I wanted to ask you because I always like for our viewers to be able to see just a little bit of what
Yeah.
our healers and our light workers do. Would you feel comfortable doing a tarot reading?
Always, always.
Okay. Good. I mean, I didn't want to put you on the spot.
No, I have
So,
cards right here. I came prepared.
yay. So, tell us what you're going to be reading and I'll just shut up.
Well, if you have any questions you want to go to, we can, or we could even just do like a general message for the collective. Like, what do we need to know right
I
now?
think that the general collective would be good.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I have a really small table. I should have should have moved to a bigger place.
Yeah, if you're going to do the collective, I would think you need a bigger table.
All right. Oh, this guy. Okay. I'm gonna start with three. This guy was spinning on the end. I'm like, okay, we'll take you, but you can come after. Oh, I took four. Okay, that's cool. They wanted to come together. That's fine. All right. So we do have the Ace of Cups. We have my favorite death card. We have
Mm,
the Page of Swords and we have Temperance. So kind of a really interesting mix of energies. Right away, we have two major arcana cards, and the major arcana are bigger life lessons that we have to learn. So it's not something that will necessarily be super comfortable. It's not something that you sleep on and you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh, I figured it all out. Like you're supposed to take your
mhm.
time, you're supposed to learn the lesson, which I feel like takes some of the scariness or the heaviness away. Because it's like, no, like we're working towards mastery. We're not masters on day one. And then we have the two minor arcana. We have the ace and the page. So the ace of chalices I love because this is very much our cup runneth over. So joy, happiness, connection, a joy to be alive is all there for our taking. And I think it's very easy right now to be drawn into the negativity of everything that's going on. And I'm not like a positive vibes only person because part of being able to appreciate the good things in life is realizing that there's an opposite side to that, right? But I feel like, especially with social media and getting news all the time in your face, it's
Right.
very easy to be drawn into the undercurrent of the negativity when there is so much joy of life out there to experience too.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
the ace is like, look, your cup can runneth over because aces are always potential. They're never the guarantee of anything. It's there for your taking, so please take it. Connect with people around you, right?
Yeah.
Share love and joy and happiness and emotion,
Right.
right? Allow yourself to be vulnerable and to be open to that because the Ace of Cups wants us to be open to receiving.
Mhm.
I think, and this comes up a lot in readings because I do read for a lot of women, especially. Women are very good at giving, they're not always great at receiving. So if we open ourselves more to that reception piece.
Isn't that interesting? Because in order to give birth,
Yeah,
we have to receive, right? And I
totally.
mean
Yes.
that symbolically should tell
Yeah.
us what we should be doing, ladies.
Yeah. And
Should
a
be
lot of
receiving.
women feel guilty in the reception part, even if it's just receiving kindness or love or attention or a pat on the back for a job well done,
Right.
right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So more of that openness to that exchange.
Hmm. Hmm.
Death shows transformation is coming, so that's great. It is about allowing, like I kind of said before, allowing the old, outdated parts to go.
Hmm.
So things that aren't working, they need to go away. We need to close the door on that. They need to shift, they need to change because death is the reminder that we can't have the doors open all the time. We can't have all of our doors open and expect to have enough space for anything to come in.
Hmm.
So allow yourself to close doors. Say no to things that you don't want to do. Say no to the person you no longer are,
Hmm.
so that you can make room for becoming the person that you actually want to be. So very much that transformational piece. And I love that too, because it's like when you allow that for yourself, you are receiving so much more in your life. And it does open you up to new connections. It does open you up to being able to experience like raw, unfiltered emotion in a way that's really good too. right? So I love that those two come together.
Mhm.
Then we have our Page of Swords. This is my favorite page. I always see myself as the Page of Swords. There's a bit of like an anxious energy to her. But the Page of Swords is the encouragement for as we go through this transformation, as things shift and change, as they are ought to do with the Wheel of Fortune and the Magician being those overarching energies. Ask questions and be curious. Open your mind. We don't have the answers. We don't have all the answers. We're never going to have all the answers in this life, right? So stop trying to figure it all out. Like
Right.
be right. And that's like such a big part of it is that curiosity, where it's like you're not here to get it right necessarily. So
Mhm.
be curious, allow your mind to open your sense of perception to see things in different ways. Because
Mhm.
I think part of the problem with the world right now as a whole is that people are so dedicated to one viewpoint.
Mhm.
And the page doesn't want to settle on any of that,
And they want to
right?
be told how to think. They want to be
Yeah,
told how to feel. We've sort of
exactly.
we've been trained that
Yeah.
way, since television, right?
Yep.
For sure.
Yep.
So again, it goes back to the responsibility of the individual.
Oh, and that's why the page is like, ask the questions. Even if it's a stupid question, ask the question because you don't know what the answer is going to bring you, right? So
Mhm.
it's having that curiosity to explore different thoughts, different ways of thinking, different ways of doing things. And maybe they're big and philosophical, but maybe it's something small like, how do I boil an egg? Like it doesn't always have to be so serious either.
Mhm.
And
Right.
I think a lot of people feel like their spiritual journey, which we see in the Ace of Cups, that spiritualness, right? That overflowing, it has to be a serious thing and you got to do it right and get it right on. And the page is like, no, you don't. Like we're all beginners figuring this out. So ask the questions and get curious and see the silly things out there
Mhm.
and enjoy the
Mhm.
process versus having to, get a specific outcome, I guess.
And for some of us, that takes courage.
Oh, it does. Totally. Yeah. And I'm not saying it's easy.
No.
But like
No.
embodying that, again, curiosity is my favorite word, but embodying the curiosity of the page can open your mind so much and do so much for you because it can take away some of that anxiety.
Mhm. Right.
Then we have our temperance card. So, temperance, I love this card too. It's a card of healing. It can be a card of patience and moderation. So, I think the reminder here that none of this happens overnight. Change doesn't happen overnight. Being open and vulnerable and receptive doesn't happen overnight, especially if you're someone who has closed yourself off to a lot of that.
Right. Right.
So, it's giving yourself that space and that grace and that patience as you move through this whole process. With temperance, you can see that the angel has one foot on land and one foot in the water, right? So it is the balance between our outer and our inner worlds. So you can't do the work on the inside only and expect to thrive, I guess is the right word. And you can't do the work on the outside only and expect to thrive, right? We need to have the balance of those two things. And my favorite part of temperance is that spiritual alchemy. So it's the mixing of everything. We're not turning one thing into another, we're mixing and we're integrating. And I think that is a very difficult piece for a lot of people to do because it's easy to compartmentalize, right? This goes here, that goes there. And temperance is like we're strongest when we mix it all together.
So quickly, if you can,
Yeah.
describe what does it look like, the difference between somebody who's doing inner work versus outer work? What is the difference between the two?
So I always think of outer work as very much like the physical world, the physical manifestation of it. So for example, if you're working on yourself spiritually on the inside, but then you're not taking care of your physical body, you're not going to be in balance because so much of our physical body influences our internal world, more so than I think we realize.
Mhm.
And vice versa is true, right? So you know that if people don't work on themselves spiritually, a lot of the time illnesses can manifest in their body and
Mhm.
they're not physical illnesses that came from anything. It's coming from what you've done internally to yourself. So that's why I think we need the balance between those two worlds. Like take care of your outer body, of your physical world. That could even mean like your house, right? Make sure that you feel comfortable in your home, that it's not dirty and dusty and filled with stuff you
Mhm.
don't need.
Mhm.
Even like a physical decluttering can do the world of good for your mind. So balancing those two elements, that's where we get that healing as a whole, not just as like a little head pin, you know?
Mhm. Right, right. Well, thank you for that because some people do question that. So
Oh,
I'm
totally.
glad that you
Yeah.
explained that. Yeah.
And I did, oh, okay. I was like, I did, this is the card that was spinning on the end, and it could be because I just was picking them up fast. But I love this one too. So we're gonna read it. But this is our Page of Wands. And our Page of Wands, I love that we have the Page of Swords because Swords is that suit of the mind. Wands is the suit, it can be behaviors, but it's ambition, it's drive. It's really the energy that makes us get up and go. So with the Page of Wands, he can be a little bit nervous. So if you're nervous to really jump into a lot of this work, if there's things that are holding you back, if you're doing the work already, but there's pieces that you're hesitating on, the Page of Wands says, look, it might be scary, but let's go for it anyways. Right? It's okay to be afraid, but still go. And the page is very much that adventurer. So instead of seeing it as something that you have to accomplish, look at it as an adventure. And with the Page of Swords, we'd be look at it as an experiment because that so often can take the pressure off of getting it right or doing it right, where it's like, let's just go into the adventure, let's go on that journey and let's see what happens.
Mhm.
Even if we're a little bit nervous, be confident, be bold, and see where it takes you.
Again, that's that courage that's necessary.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people are like, well, I'm too afraid. And courage doesn't have to look like you're super strong and brave, right? Like you
Right.
can still be timid and nervous and then take that step.
A lot of people have the fear of, I think they're just afraid of what they're going to find out if they do look inside. And
Yeah.
that, like, don't be, because
No.
what you are first and foremost inside is absolute beauty,
Yeah.
absolute love. I mean, we are not disconnected from source, the universe, we're all connected. So don't be afraid to look at who you are inside because you're going to find some amazing things,
Yeah.
right?
And I love it's a quote, I don't know who said it, but it's like, we're made of stardust. And every time I'm having a bad day, I'm like, I'm stardust. Like I'm
Yeah.
here to sparkle and shine, you know?
I
We
think that
have all
was
that power within us.
for those who are watching that know who Joni Mitchell is and was. She wrote a song about that, and it's very famous now. So, wow, is that it?
I can pull more cards, but that's all I pulled for now.
No, I didn't want to interrupt you. So,
No,
thanks for
I just
that,
feel like
because
it's a nice overall message. Like I
it
like,
is,
yeah,
and really well done, and it told us what we need to know as a collective again.
yeah,
So, just to review,
yes,
it's telling us to find our own way of perceiving what's going on. Don't be involved in the news cycle 24/7,
yeah,
and find the courage and the understanding that we
yeah,
as individuals need to receive and be kind to ourselves in order to give that same, right?
yes, yeah. Well, and the Ace of Cups too is it does encourage connection. And for a world that is so connected, I feel like so many people feel alone,
Mm,
or isolated or left out. And there is so much community out there who want you as part of it. So
mhm.
don't think that your people aren't out there.
Mm-mm. And, be careful how much time that you're spending on your phone or on your computer, because that's a solitary, sometimes it can be good. Obviously, there's good
Yeah.
in everything, but it can also cause you to be very solitary.
Yeah.
So get outside, right? Nature,
Yeah.
super
And that's like,
important.
that goes along with temperance as well. Temperance can be, it's funny because you were saying, I forget what she said specifically, but temperance is also a card of peace and tranquility and finding those moments of inner peace too. And every time I see temperance, I'm always like, go by the water because
Mm-hmm.
that's where this angel is pouring
Mm-hmm.
their cups by the water. So
Mm-hmm.
I like that you're like, yeah, get outside or get out because that's
Mm-hmm.
very much that finding that peace and that harmony and that beauty in the world around you because it can feel like it's very ugly, but so much beauty exists.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy, that's so true. Let's let's go finally to um the ultimate question here, that
Okay.
if tarot could
Mhm.
offer one message to the soul of
Okay.
the listener right now without pulling a card, what do you feel it would whisper?
Oh, goodness. So I feel like, and I mean, this is probably the way I look at tarot, um, but I do feel like tarot is telling you to just be open, to be curious and to trust yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's
Very good.
really what it helps you do.
Mm-hmm. Very, very good. Very, very important. Trusting yourself. We have everything we need,
Yeah,
and we have to
100%.
we have to trust that that is absolutely 100% true.
Yes. Yeah.
And
And that's why I like the energy of the magician because that's that reminder.
mm-hmm,
Like he is so powerful because he knows what he's capable of, right? He
mm-hmm,
knows all the skills and the talents and the resources. And I know there's somebody listening to it who's thinking, well, I don't really have any skills or talents, but you do. I promise
mm-hmm.
you, if you just take a minute and sit there and try to write down even something that you're kind of good at, because we generally don't give ourselves enough credit. I
Uh-huh.
promise you, you'll be able to fill a page with things that you can do, and you don't have to be the best at it.
Right.
That's the thing, right?
That's mhm.
We often so much try to be like, well, I'm not as good at this as so and so is. Doesn't matter. It's still a skill that you bring to the table.
And it's not about that. And we are all
No.
unique and how in our creativity is unique.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
if it's there, if it sparked your interest, then do it because it's there for a reason. Don't worry
Exactly.
about have any preconceived notions. Well, I'm not good enough to do that.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
do
and
it.
that goes back to that courage in the page, right? Where the page is like, I just want to see what this is like. They're not going to be good at it because they're just starting out,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they're not
Right.
an expert. They don't know what they're doing. They're there to
Mm-hmm.
figure it all out. But it's having the courage to just try it. And you don't have to do it to be the best. You don't have to do it to show anybody. You don't have to do it for monetary gain because I think everything is monetized nowadays, which doesn't help either.
Mm-mm.
Do it because it brings you joy.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Because joy is one of the most important reasons to live. I mean,
Totally. Yeah.
we all know that living on earth in this incarnation, there are many, many challenges that we go through that I believe we asked to go
I
through
believe that too. Yeah, we signed
in
up for this.
as lessons, yeah. But what we also signed up for was the understanding and the importance of joy, because
Yeah.
simultaneously with joy, there is love. And you just
Yes.
can't go wrong. Just remember that for sure. Adrienne, I have loved this show.
Well, thank you.
I could
I
talk
love
to
being here.
I could talk to you forever. I'm going to put your contact information. It'll be
Thank you.
in the square,
Perfect.
your
Yeah.
little picture square, and it'll also be in the description box down below
Yep.
when I release the podcast or the episode rather. I want to thank you so much for being here. You have just been amazing, and thank you for agreeing because you do have a lot to offer. And I love your effervescence. I love your energy. It just resonates. It's beautiful.
I appreciate that. And I feel the same about you. I feel like we just connected so well. Even from our first time we just talked on the phone, just, to make sure everything felt right.
Right?
It's been awesome.
Well, I mean, some people, when I reach out to them, they don't know me from Adam, and I explained who I am and why I'm trying to reach out to them, and would they be interested in being a guest? Some people are like, "Why are you even contacting me? I don't know." And sometimes I
Oh,
don't even hear at all. But you
oh,
were just right there. You're like, "Oh, yep, another thing I signed up for, apparently. So sure, I'd love to be on your podcast." So I
like I said,
really appreciate that.
I will talk tarot forever. So that's actually kind of a warning.
But it's really informative. It's not
Thank you.
You're not just chattering, you have a lot to offer this world, and I'm excited.
Yeah, I
I
appreciate
want to
that.
ask all of our viewers to please go to her website and take a look at what she offers, because she's not just tarot, she's other
No.
things too. So you'll enjoy looking at her website. So that said, to everyone tuning in, if something in this episode resonated with you, I invite you to join the conversation and leave a comment below. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and share Souls on Tap with someone who's ready for a deeper conversation. Your support helps these stories reach the people who are meant to hear them. So until next time, trust the remembering, follow the call, and keep your souls curious. And we'll see you on Souls on Tap.